Dear Treyarch, we need to talk about the events of Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 6 Zombies. I think you're putting way too much effort and you are not seeing the engagement that you want. But I also think you might have just struck gold with the most recent event. So let's talk about it. Welcome everybody to Dear Treyarch. This is a video series in which I give feedback directly to Treyarch if anybody's watching, but I want to do so in the most mature, polite, and respectful professional manner that I can. And believe me, I've been wanting to make this video for a while. I want to talk about the events of Black Ops 6 because, like I said earlier, I feel like they are putting so much effort into the events of Black Ops 6 and not getting the return on investment that they deserve. And I think the problems are fairly simple. These events are not engaging players as long as they need to. Treyarch or whoever is putting so much more effort into these events than they need to. And third of all, they are not good for the player sentiment. Now, when Black Ops 6 first was revealed, the events were a big part of the marketing, and I was very excited for all of these events, the crossover events, the constant events for rewards and challenges and all this stuff. And with every single event, you can tell that Treyarch really did put a lot of time into this. There's unique animations, there's unique battle passes, unique menus and UI elements and all of this stuff to make it really pretty. And while that feels fun at the moment, I feel like that might be too much work for what we're getting out of the player engagement. Because second of all, I feel as though, again, Treyarch has all of the numbers for sure, so this might be completely wrong. Treyarch, if I'm wrong, feel free to reach out to me. But I think players are not engaging with these events as much as they have engaged with previous things in previous iterations of Call of Duty. And I think I can explain why. Let's take the most recent Beavis and Butthead event. That event is just a straight up XP battle pass. Earn XP, rank up the battle pass, get your rewards. The event before that, I forget what it was the John Wick event, I think. Collecting all of those coins on the ground, okay, cool, but players have no agency. There's no way to play the game differently to make those coins pop up anymore. Same goes with the weed money, same goes with the other collectibles on the ground that we had to collect, whether it's the XP event, whether it's the collecting things off the ground like the Archie event or the money event or, you know, whatever coin it was for John Wick. You are not asking much from the player. In fact, you are asking so little from the player, it almost becomes like a fourth wall break. You see, back when these events first started happening, I was excited to test out and see, ooh, what's going to be the fastest way to grind out all of these collectibles? Ooh, what's going to be the fastest way to get XP? But turns out the fastest way to do both of those things is generally just play the game. So there's really nothing interesting about these events other than playing the game. And so when we get an event like this, the gamification of the game, that wall, that barrier between the developers, the creators, and the players is almost gone. It almost feels directly from you, the developers, you are just looking at us going, hey, just play the game and eventually we'll get you something. It feels like we're one notch away from a literal countdown timer of in-game time before we get rewards. Hey, you have to play for 4 hours before we give you this thing. And that to players is a huge turnoff because we like playing games. We like strategizing. We like coming up with fun ways to grind things really efficiently, especially as zombie players. And so when the ultimate strategy is just playtime and it's just playing the game, well, that's a huge turnoff. Now, there's been events that have solved this. I remember, I think one event was for the TR2 back when the Tomb was released. There was a group of like 5, 6, or maybe like 10 challenges, and that was fantastic. You know, do all of these different challenges. There's, you know, some for multiplayer, some for Warzone, some for zombies. Complete some of those challenges and you will get the TR2, as well as some rewards along the way. And I think that event was really good for players, but I imagine it wasn't so good for the player engagement. And that's probably why we haven't seen very many of those events, because you probably saw everybody speed running all of those challenges and then putting down the game after they were done with it. And I could see you guys being torn between these two types of events. Do we do events where players get challenges and they're engaged, but that engagement falls off as soon as they're done with those challenges? Or do we do like an XP event or one of those drop events where we force people to play a little bit longer, but they might not be as happy about it? Well, I think the perfect solution was actually last year with Modern Warfare 3, because Modern Warfare 3 had weekly challenges. And that right there, that system of Modern Warfare 3 alone fixes all of our issues. First and foremost, it's pretty simple. Now, we don't get the parade of new characters and crossovers and the really fun UI stuff. It's very simple and basic like it was back in Modern Warfare 3, but that might be better for development time. You're not spending the time on creating that unique UI and that event tab. But on top of that, it was a challenge system. So players engaged with that challenge system as opposed to just playing the game normally and really not getting anything different out of it. You force them to use a different ammo mod, to use a different perk, to use a different weapon with a different perk. And you could unlock all of these challenges across multiplayer, Warzone, and zombies. But as we discussed with those challenges, what happens if players just speed ran through them for that week? And that's the genius of it. If players did do all of those weekly challenges right away, all they would need to wait for is another week. Whereas now with these events, like so many of us do, if we get online the day one of the event and we play for 3-4 hours, whatever it is, to unlock the Olympia or unlock unlock whatever weapon it is, the event's done, and we are stuck with nothing to do for 2, 3, even 4 weeks. Spreading out all of these rewards, spreading out all of these challenges across 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the season length, that was the key to keeping players engaged back in Modern Warfare 3. Not only that, but the rewards that were also drip fed, as weird as that sounds, I'm praising drip feed content. 1 week it would be a camo, 1 week it would be an aftermarket part, and then the next week it would be a blueprint or a weapon. And at least on the YouTube side of things, that was perfect, because then this week, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make a video on the aftermarket part. Next week, I'm gonna do a little chill video about, hey, here's how to get this new active reactive camo or whatever. And if you missed a couple weeks, that was fine, because then you could go back a couple weeks and catch up and do all of those challenges, which led to even more player engagement. And of course, those challenges rewarded you with XP anyway, so it was like doubling up on your rewards. Not only did you get the XP from the challenges, but you got the actual reward from that weekly challenge too. I think that weekly challenge system in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies is the biggest win-win for developers and players alike. Low impact on the development side, I think. I don't know how hard or easy it is to do these weekly challenges, but it feels like it should be a lot simpler than creating a unique asset that drops inside the game and a whole new events tab and new artwork and all this stuff. And it's more engaging for the player. Completing challenges is far more stimulating, far more engaging than just, hey, play the game for 3 hours and I'll give you this thing. And speaking of things, there is another piece of this puzzle that players are upset with, and that is the rewards. And I have to agree with the community here. I think the rewards of these events have been pretty lackluster. And the reason I think that is because when I think back of the events of this year, I couldn't tell you exactly what any of the rewards were apart from weapons, aftermarket parts, Frost Blast. That's all I've got. Whereas back in Modern Warfare 3, I remember a ton of rewards for not just the weekly events, but for the other events too. I remember the aftermarket parts, of course, from the Modern Warfare Zombies, but I remember the reactive camos or the animated camos that we got from the weekly challenges. And I think if Treyarch or the developers or whoever is working for these rewards, if you take one thing from this year of Black Ops 6 events, it's that players really don't care all that much about loading screens, calling cards, weapon charms. I genuinely can't think of any of the rewards from these events other than the weapons and aftermarket parts. But I tell you, this exact time last year during the lull of Season 4 of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, I can't tell you how many people were asking for help in my Discord, link in the description, to complete the unstable rift just for the universal camo. That thing was on thumbnails. That thing, what we live streamed it, people wanted to get that camo because it was a camo. People do these camo grinds, and think about this. We are 4.5 seasons in, nearly 5 seasons into this game. We have prestige masters, prestige level at 1000. People have the mastery camo. Give them a new camo. Give them something unique. Who cares about XP tokens? We don't need XP tokens. We don't need weapon XP tokens. They are collecting dust, especially with how many double XP events we have nowadays. But give people a universal camo for doing the unstable rift or playing this new parkour mode in Modern Warfare 3. It might be one of the best things you've ever done in Call of Duty to reward players. And then in Season 5, when you introduced a sick secret boss fight in the Season 5 Dark Ether, you gave us one of the single coolest weapon blueprints, in my opinion, of all of Call of Duty Zombies. And that thing was in my thumbnails for weeks. In fact, it might be in a new thumbnail coming up soon. I don't know. I want to make a separate video about these specific rewards specifically for Easter eggs, but there have been so many cool bundles this year. Surely you can release one weapon or one player skin that's really cool and over the top for one of these event rewards. How much would that one weapon skin or that one operator skin really impact your revenue? How much ROI would you get by putting it into an event that everybody can complete as opposed to a bundle which fewer people are going to buy? Again, you have the numbers, I don't. I'm just asking the question. Again, if I'm wrong, feel free, hit me up, Twitter, Discord, whatever you want. I'm here, Treyarch, if you want to talk to me. And last week, that's where this video would have ended, but this week, I think I might have been just drinking the Kool-Aid, I don't know, because this King of the Dead event, in my opinion, is a stroke of genius. Pairing us up with a random group of 30 other people to compete in a leaderboard. Again, the points thing, you've balanced it so much so that, yeah, generally speaking, no matter what you're doing, you're going to be gaining a good amount of points no matter what. But now that competitive element has made me make a video in a new spreadsheet of all these strategies. Oh, we could do this. Oh, what map are you going to do? Oh my goodness, let's try that. Oh, let's try this high round strategy. Everybody's just engaged so much more. But I think this event could be so much bigger. Treyarch, this is my crazy idea. This event, this leaderboard type of thing needs to be standard every single week. I know people have a problem with it because, oh my goodness, you're only getting gobblegums, and we could talk about that. But imagine we got a random group of 30 people every single single week. It was different. Now, I know people always say, oh my goodness, there's grinders, there's glitchers with AFK spots, and that's, not a good thing. But if it was every week, and every week your lobby changed so that in case one week, oh no, you got in a lobby with an AFK glitcher or whatever, then the next week you would be fine. So at the end of every week, you were awarded those gobblegums or a gobblegum spin or a pack of gobblegums or whatever the case may be. But then check this out. What if these were done seasonally? What if at the end of every season, depending on how many times you got top 5 or top 3 or top 1, you got a unique weapon blueprint, you got a unique operator skin, something to showcase that you have come in the top 3 for, 4 out of the 8 weeks of the season. And then here's the cool thing, because now we could play around with how many points you give players for how many things. For example, when the Reckoning or whatever DLC 4 is going to come out here for Black Ops 6, we could have that main quest worth extra amount of points to encourage players to play that specific main quest. When the Abomination Challenge comes out or whatever LTM comes out, you can make it, oh, it's double points during this LTM. You can use this leaderboard format to reward and encourage players to play all of the other LTMs and other maps. I don't know exactly if this can work or not, but you can make it so that, oh my goodness, this weekend Disciples are worth twice the amount of points than they normally are. So now everybody goes and plays Shattered Veil because they want the extra bonus points. This format is so darn cool to me. And now that the infrastructure is here, you might be able to do this more than just 1 week. This format might just encourage players to play just a little bit more to get the next rank. And again, I know the AFK glitches are good, but I think every week changing up the lobby might help mitigate that. 1 week you might get some AFK glitcher, but then the next 7 weeks you're in the clear. And then when a new map comes out, oh my goodness, okay, so this map has this main quest, it's worth this many points, it has this many bosses on it, let's try to do that, let's add it to our calculations and see, is it worth grinding out this map or that map? And it creates a different level of engagement throughout the entirety of your playtime. I really like this leaderboard event, and I hope it returns and stays. I know gobblegums, it's just like the XP tokens. I have tons of gobblegums. I really don't care at this point. So yes, I would love it if it was a calling card or weapon skin, but if it was worth that much, then the people glitching for it would be really bad and it would be really negative. So it's hard. And I know I'm coming at this from a very ignorant consumer way. I don't know how these events are made. I don't know how much effort gets put into these events. And Treyarch, like I said multiple times, you might be very happy with the events this year. You might be very happy with how much playtime we all have. But from our perspective, this year's worth of events has been incredibly lackluster and very unrewarding, especially when we compare it to something as simple as the Modern Warfare 3 Zombies weekly challenges. Now, those of you watching this, I want to encourage you to comment as professionally and maturely as you can what you would like to see from events in the future. What makes an event good? What would get players to keep playing the game? Because remember, that's a big thing with Treyarch and the developers is playtime. What would be not too developmental heavy? What would get them the most bang for their buck in terms of development time? Because we all know they probably don't have much development time.